You're not lazy. You're just scared. Scared of failing. Scared of not being enough. The fear of failure is normally what stops us from actually getting over that hump. You could even be 3/4 towards that goal, and on the other side of that hill you are climbing, you could be just 2 or 3 steps away from success. But we tend to give up on things. People don't achieve success by giving up. And living in fear, well, that's a state of consciousness. When one studies the map of consciousness, I will bring back up the Letting Go book. It's very good. It gives you the map of consciousness. If you're living in fear, you're living in the states that are very negative. They're below the courage, the acceptance. And what becomes the state of consciousness that could lead you up to those states is feeling anger. When you're living in fear, you're living with the apathy, the grief, the despair, the feeling so low, right? Low about ourselves, low about how others treat us. So then we create our current state, our current identity. What we choose to take action on or not, we have to protect. You're not just being natural. You're not just being yourself. You're manipulating. When that comes to a program you're studying in college to achieve success, or you're trying to create a YouTube channel to achieve success, you don't just grow by not trying out different things. You become persistent. Just look at what I've done to date from the beginning to where I'm at now. Do you think I got to where I'm at today by not wanting to try out different topics and practice speaking daily so that I could get better at it, so that I could become myself, the version of me that you see now? What's to say that you can't be this powerful? That's what I'm here to teach. We are all in this together, the community. When you let go of the fear of rejection, the fear of not being enough, and associate something different, that it's not that I'm ugly, I'm not smart enough, I don't have what it takes. That you associate something different. And when you try something and it didn't work, you call that a lesson, not failure. These are all learning lessons. Yesterday's video, we talked about ghosting. When someone is not meant for us and we tried something and they didn't get back to us, instead of identifying with it, instead of having the fear of trying to message someone else or talk to someone else in person, we have the fear of rejection that's associated to that ghosting moment. So take that pattern and apply it to today's video, which is overcoming the fear of failure and stepping into the most powerful version of you that can achieve success. You become someone who just repeats the action until it comes to life, not in the form of manipulating. These things manifest and come to life naturally. It's not about manifesting on a surface level where you've got to deeply visualize and go into the spirit side of it, which some of that is true. Some of that will work for you. But if you're always stuck with your eyes closed, trying to manifest all day, you're not living in the current reality, the current self that just accepts who you are for being in your own skin, being you, being loving, living with peace. When you develop these skills, these life skills, and learn to live in the elevated states of consciousness, I mention quite often in my videos here on the channel. When we live in these elevated states, we move up between anger. You eventually take anger to, I'm not going to allow, let's use YouTube or social media, I'm not going to allow how often I post or how small the results are for me to give up on it. Look at someone who's studying something in college and you failed your last exam. And you may not want to show your parents the result. You're afraid of everything. You're afraid of your parents, the way they're viewing you, which is creating the dynamic of being afraid to just be honest and allow the results to be what they are and then take action. You're the only one that can take a different action to get a different result. And if you took the test and failed, well, then you didn't apply yourself enough. You didn't read the material. You could read the material, but you need to actually take in the material in a different way. Instead of being the victim, that actually apply yourself and take different routes. If you're reading stuff and you're not really grasping the material mentally, get out a notepad and write lots of stuff about what you need to remember. And I find when I write down stuff, I'll remember it a lot more. But like this being afraid of our parents, that's all stuff from our childhood. And some of us may be living like that as teenagers or young adults. I had a strict father myself. I always had to live up to what his expectancies were in the form of what I'm going to do with a career, being smart enough of a man to invest into my retirement. Which it's all smart things that he's teaching me, but it's also, I was taking on his energy and just doing it to please him. So I had to separate myself towards, he's giving me some good lessons, but am I doing it for him or am I doing it for me? And then I learned to separate the task between me and my parent, that I am my own individual. I love my father, but I don't have to live by every expectancy he has of me. He learned to just love me for who I am when I stepped into my true power. I developed a career for myself. I moved out. I didn't have to stay living in the basement, smoking weed, watching porn, drinking alcohol, talking shit about the community I lived in. I made a video about that last year, about how poisonous it can be to just live in a small community where you're stuck. And if you're living with your parents that pay for everything, they could be just enabling you. So if you like that topic, drop it in the comments. I'll make a different video about it. This one's about overcoming fear. And when we let go of the empath in us that feels everything that our parents throws at us, and then we have to fix how they feel by us coming up with a solution or having to lie about, failing an exam, like I just mentioned. Just take action. Just apply yourself. It's not that you're going to pass every test because you try this different method I'm giving you. Just change your approach. Maybe you studying it a second time and taking it seriously, writing some stuff down, you might grasp the material better, go in there and get the passing mark that you desire so you can move forward with your life. And same with social media or YouTube. You're making videos all the time. They're not hitting. What am I doing wrong? Blah, blah, blah. And then you're living in the fear of rejection. And when I stepped into the version of me and just started making a video every single day again, my channel blew up. Instead of, I didn't give up, but I was only making 2 or 3 videos per week, sometimes only 1. And I would give the shorts, like I said, follow me on Instagram. We have a good community I'm building there on Instagram and TikTok for the shorts I make. And it's also a chance to interact with me. We interact great in the comments here, but if you really want to interact, I answer DMs on the Instagram. So yeah, if you have that, give me a follow. But overcoming the fear is I just kept applying myself. I kept posting every day. And what I started to do is I studied the analytics. What does the community want more of? And then I looked at how I can give you guys more of the content that you guys like. Instead of living in the fear that this video failed, this one got 0 likes, this one got 0 comments, my subscriber amount didn't move yesterday. No. I started to act, think, and feel as the person who has a high amount of subscribers, that's already monetized, that's already a professional mindset coach that helps other people. I don't fear anything. I come on here and we have a chat, okay? I'm myself. These are not edited. I come up with a topic, come up with something I'm going to say at the beginning, and then we go with the flow. We enter our flow state and distribute the material accordingly. So next time you're feeling fear towards your parents, towards the failed mark, towards the failure on YouTube or social media, whatever it is you're working on, failure in a relationship, I'll tag it at the end. I talked about relationships yesterday and ghosting, and I mentioned it a little in this video. But next time you're feeling the fear and it brings you up to anger, don't ignore that anger, okay? Because we can only get angry so many times. We can only allow people to make us feel like that so many times before we start to come up with a solution that we are not going to take that shit anymore. Like same as the empath videos I make when we feel all kinds of tension in other people. We are building characters that cannot be messed with. And there's a video on that coming later this week. But next time you feel anger, start to feel it like this is the last fucking straw and I'm going to make a change in my life. Like the video I watched yesterday, okay? I'm going to start acting, thinking, and feeling in accordance to what the reality that I want reflected back to me, the success that I want to experience, the new reality that I can create for myself by changing the old character and becoming someone new. And then you take that anger and you step up to courage. If you ever studied the map of consciousness, David Hawkins' Letting Go book, you move up to courage and then you have the courage. Use me as an example again. I had the courage to keep going on YouTube, even though I was stuck, even though nothing was moving, even though I wasn't hitting on any videos. I had the courage. And then I eventually moved up to acceptance, which I teach a lot on my content. Acceptance is loving yourself in your own skin and just being, not needing to analyze and think your way out of problems. And then you really start to allow God and the divine energy to flow through you and all around you. And your personality changes once you start to enter this state. And you'll even move between that and feeling love. And love is I just love. It's not using, love is a big word to love other people. You only should love your wife. You should only love your parents. I feel love because it is my natural state. It is everybody's natural state when you're a baby coming out of the womb, before you've learned all the programming between ages 0 to 7. Do you think a baby needed to seek approval? What if you were just someone that was like a baby right now? That could just be. When you're holding a baby, do they have to be someone for you to like them? Do they have to have a different facial expression or give you what you want for you to like them back? No. So why should we have to do that as adults? Why couldn't you just be in a state of being again and learn acceptance? Learn the courage to take action on things that are failing and keep going, because persistence builds character. And so are we here on the channel. We build character together. And I'm going to keep making videos that's going to help develop the skills to become the new character, the gamer, the successful entrepreneur. All right. Thank you for watching this one. We'll see you on the next video.